Hey everybody, today is day 278 and it is August 1st and today's video is gonna get a little spoopy. We are gonna talk about a ghost story that happened right here on Maynooth University here in Maynooth, Ireland. After I tell you the story, we're gonna go find the haunted room. Okay, so this is gonna be spooky. But first, before we go find the haunted room, let me give you a little bit of history. Here's the story, and obviously take what you want from the story, believe it or not. Do your own research. This is basically based off of my own research. I had mentioned to a friend the other day that I had a weird experience here in the dorm where I swear to God someone was whispering my name in my ear in the middle of the night, and I jolted out of bed real fast and something from the shelf fell off immediately. Like, creepy, right? And I mentioned that and she's like, well, have you heard the story of the haunted room? And she gave me the quick Cliff Notes edition. And I was like, this sounds interesting. So I went ahead and did a little research, and it does sound very plausible. It's recommended on TripAdvisor for anyone who is like interested in like a thrill. The university has its own like page of it on its website, so it seems like a legit story. So here it goes. Maynooth University is broken up into two different campuses, basically. The one that I've been staying on, obviously this room, it looks very new, and the buildings outside look new. Go check out my campus tour, I'll link it down below. The new side of the campus was built in 1997, so it's only 22 years old. It's basically my age. It's like fairly new in terms of campuses. And the other half, and it's very clearly defined, like there's a bridge. It was built in the 1700s. Very old. It used to be called St. Patrick's College, and it was a seminary. So priests would go there. It's Ireland. It's a very Catholic place. So priests would go there to study to be Catholics and yada yada. Obviously, the other half of campus is still in use today. There are dorm rooms, there are buildings. A lot of it's more like the registrar's office, advising offices are over there, and it looks like most of the classrooms and dorms and things are on this side of campus, but is definitely still in use today, the other half of campus. In fact, my mom stayed over there because in the summer, maybe they even do this in the winter, I'm not sure, but for sure in the summer they rent out some of the rooms as a hotel. So she stayed over there one night when she dropped me off here a few weeks ago. Back in the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, like I said, it was a seminary. So this story takes place in the mid-1800s. A young man was studying to become a priest and was staying in room 2 of the Rhetoric House. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And one day he didn't show up to classes, and his friends decided to go and see what was up. So they went to his room, found him in a pool of his own blood with a razor in his hand. He had slit his throat from ear to ear. Horrific. And of course, suicide back then was it is taboo even now. Like, it's unfortunate that we have to, that's a whole other conversation. Mental health, that's a whole other conversation. But back then, like, the Catholic Church viewed suicide as a horrific sin. So they were pretty hush-hush about it, and they buried this young man in an unmarked grave in the campus cemetery, which, funnily enough, I have seen this man's grave. I went to the campus graveyard. I think I talked about this in a few videos, and I talked about how weird the trees were, how they grew together, how it was just a very eerie presence, and how it led to a graveyard at the end. And I noticed some unmarked graves, and I was like, how strange. Now I know why. Anyway, the next year they gave the room out to another man. Exact same thing happened. Found in a pool of his own blood, slit his throat ear to ear, found with a razor in hand. Once again, kept hush-hush because it was a suicide, very taboo, Catholic school, it's a sin, blah, blah, blah. Put in an unmarked grave. So the third person to stay in this room jumped out the window and survived. I think he later did succumb to his injuries, but he survived the initial fall. But he fell and jumped out with a razor in his hand. So people asked him, like, what were you doing? What happened? Why did you jump out the window? And he said he went to shave that morning. He was looking in the mirror and he was shaving. And he saw a demonic face in the mirror. and he had the urge to kill himself. It was just an overpowering urge to commit suicide, and the only way to stop himself from completing suicide was to jump out the window. It sounds like kind of counterintuitive to like jump out the window when you're trying not to kill yourself, but that was the only way he could get out of the room. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, I need to leave and I need to jump out the window. So he jumped out, and I think he did succumb to his injuries later on. So the college decided that they wanted to have a priest stay in the room to see what was up. The next morning, they found the priest. He had his whole head of hair had gone completely white. And they found him curled up in a ball, and he was muttering to himself, and he basically refused to say anything about what happened that night, except for to say that they needed to close this room down. But bad things were there. So they did just that. They boarded up the window, they knocked through the door, they boarded it up, and they left a statue, like a saint statue, in there. Now, since then, I do think the room has opened up. Now, some of my sources have said the room is exactly like that today. Other sources have said that they have opened the room up. But regardless of what source I'm looking at, everything says that the window outside is, to this day, boarded up. And so I really want to go find that window. Some sources do say that it has been transformed into a waiting room now for like an academic advisor's office. So if you're waiting to see your advisor, you can sit in that room. They do have some strict rules. Mirrors are not allowed in the room. The statue still remains there. The window, like I said, is still boarded up, and there are bloodstains still on the floor. They have tried everything to get it out. The cleaning products just cannot get this blood out of the floor, regardless of what they use. And they asked the chemistry team to test this substance, because at first they weren't quite sure what it was. And the chemistry team here, like the professors, have concluded that it is in fact blood. What an amazing story. So I've already seen the graveyard and the unmarked graves, even though I didn't know about the story and history behind it until now. But I am super excited to go and try to find this room. As you all know, I'm super into Halloween, horror movies, spooky stuff, so not so sure I'll be able to go into the room, not so sure I want to go in the room. Since it is a room that is in use and it's a college, I'm not so sure I can just waltz in. But maybe I'll just try to walk down the hallway and like peek through or something. And no matter what, I'm definitely going to try to find at least the building and try to find the window that is boarded up. So let's go on an adventure and go find it. Okay. I found the house, the rented house. I found the building. Oh my god, I can't talk. But I think I was in the back, because I couldn't even find a front door to get into. I think I was in the back of it, so I didn't see anything yet. So far, ghost story has not been proven true. So I'm trying to find the front of the building and see what I see there. Let's see. Alright, I think it's this one up here. Not quite sure yet. We'll find out. This is it. This is the front of the building. They said it was number 2, so I'm feeling like it should be on the bottom. And there is one, I think it might be blinds though. I don't know if it's a full-on boarded up, but it's definitely the only window that is covered. And it's right in front of me. So that's possible, but it's on the bottom floor, so that makes me feel like if somebody fell out of that, they wouldn't die from their injuries. So I don't know. But it did say room number 2, so like, I don't know. I don't know if I can go in either. It doesn't really look like it. I'm not quite sure. Oh, this window actually has an X on it. I'll show you this. I don't know that, y'all. So this one is the only one that's covered, but it looks like blinds. I don't know if I would say it's boarded up or something. I don't know if I can go in there. That one kind of looks boarded up, actually. That is a board for sure. That's it. Wait, that's it. It's like got a metal bar around it too. It's like all those right down there have metal around them. I think that he died. Or I don't know how he died. Because look at that. Yep, it is 100% boarded off. But that's not a far fall. I can't imagine that he died from that. Must have been something else. Something they're not telling us. Okay, I'm in here. I'm in it. Okay. Okay, here we go. I don't know if I'm allowed to be in here. Okay, so that door behind me, that's where it goes, but I don't think I can go in there. It's like laboratories, so I don't know if I'm allowed to go in there. But yes, this is confirmed. It definitely has a creepy vibe in here too. It smells really weird. And yes, there is boards in that window, so it's there. This is real. This is real, y'all. Okay. Let's go back out before a demon attaches itself to me. Oh. I'm happy now. Confirmed. I didn't go in the room, but I really didn't think I was allowed to go in there. There was like nobody in that building at all. And it smelled weird. And that door said geographical laboratories. And there was no other doors around. So it had to be through there. It's the only geographical location that would make sense from the outside. So, I don't know. I found it. It's real, y'all. Real ghost story. I've now visited one of the most haunted places in Ireland. Spooky times.